Morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning show right here on Main Street TV, where it is a, well, shall we say, blustery and cold morning here in downtown Jackson. Please be careful if you do have to go out. A, it's a little slick, and B, it is very cold outside. Little PSA before we start this morning, and we do have some special guests here on the program. Let the dogs out this morning, and their feet froze, literally froze to the ground. And I felt like the world's worst dog mom. So please, if you do have, this sounds really crazy, but if you have some booties for your dogs or animals, put them on. Both of them literally had some issues with the cold and the ice this morning. So watch out for all your critters and your friends and neighbors, and make sure that they're all warm and taken care of. All right, before we get to our special guests, number one, I have on my Buckeyes shirt today because there's that thing called the National Championship game tonight, and our Ohio State Buckeyes will be taking on Notre Dame in the National Championship, College Football National Championship this evening. So that is why I'm wearing my Ohio State garb. Also, Dylan just let me know that we have something really cool that we're giving away here on the show. And we need you. All you have to do is do some comments. We have some VIP passes to the Southern Rock Woodstock, which will be taking place at the Gallia County Fairgrounds in August. And there's going to be a lot of cool stuff going on there. So all you have to do is go to our comments, and you have to comment your favorite rock song. And we here at Total Media will vote on it for a chance for you to win. So we can, so make sure that you get your comments in, and let everyone know what your favorite rock song is. And then we will be giving away these passes, and it will be a really cool event in August. And I promise you it will be warmer than it is today. How's that? That's not really saying much, but all right. Well, we do have some special guests here on the program today. And our first group of guests are Laura and Tom from the Chillicothe Civic Theatre, and they will be chiming in via the powers of the internet, which is really super cool. So want to welcome them to the program. Hi, guys. How are you?
Morning.
How are you?
Good deal. There you are. Okay, now I can see you. And tell us a little bit about the Chillicothe Civic Theatre. I'll let one of you decide.
We are a community theater that we have a host of things going on all year long, children and adults. We have musicals and plays, and I think we do about 7 or 8 shows a year.
That is super cool. And where is the theater located there in Chillicothe?
It's on Walnut Street. We have our own little theater building. Yeah.
Oh, cool. How fun. So what's your involvement, both of you? What are your involvements with the theater?
Well, right now, Laura and I are directing Peter Pan Jr., which will be coming up in February. And that's our K-12 show this season. We have a youth theater wing that includes opportunities for children up through young adult age. We'll have 2 more performances this year as part of the youth theater. Those will both be this coming summer.
Okay, that's super exciting. And so are practices underway, rehearsals, or are you still looking to cast the show?
We've actually been practicing for a few months already.
Oh, good deal. And about how many kids are involved in the show, in this production?
We have a very
Well,
large cast, probably the biggest we've ever had at this theater. About 55 young people.
That is wild. That would be like herding cats, I would think.
yes, actually.
So, tell us a little bit about. I know that we've talked with some other groups where they have done something junior, like Shrek Junior. Can you tell everybody kind of what that means as Peter Pan Junior?
So it's a more condensed story, and the songs aren't quite as lengthy. So instead of a 2.5, 3 hour show, our show runs about 60 minutes.
Okay,
So we're
which
still
makes it a little bit.
sorry, go ahead.
No, no, you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead.
We're still telling the whole story. It's just not quite as long, and we kind of cut out the slower parts and hit all the good high notes.
I can imagine, especially when you're dealing with the youth. That would be a little bit easier to make it shorter and keep attention spans going. So when will the
Mhm.
production be? How can people come and watch it?
We have 8 shows. Um, February 13th, 14th, 15th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd at 7 o'clock. And then we have 2 Sunday matinees, February 16th and 23rd at 2 p.m. And tickets are available to purchase now. It's likely the shows will sell out, but they can be purchased at cctoh.booktix, that's TIX.com.
Okay, and is there like a social media page or a website that people can go to and then find the link from there if they can't remember all of that?
We do have a very
Yeah.
well run Facebook page. Just search for Chillicothe Civic Theatre.
Okay.
We also have our own website that would direct you to the ticket site as well.
Okay, perfect. That way people can find you very easily. Um, so tell us a little bit about Peter Pan Jr. and what can people expect when they come to see the show?
Well, this is the Peter Pan that um, was written for Broadway. It's not the Disney version.
Okay.
Um, I was not as familiar with this version when I started directing the show, but now I prefer this over the Disney version. I think it highlights a lot more characters. Um, it's just this show is just a good time. It's a good time. You're gonna love the Lost Boys and Peter Pan. You're gonna love Wendy. You're gonna love the pirates and Captain Hook. Everybody in this show is just they get their own moments to really show off and have a good time.
That sounds like so much fun, and it's a fun story anyway. So I can only imagine having that many kids involved is going to be really, really cool. Um, so tell us a little bit about some of the other productions that maybe you have coming up, or other things that you all are doing.
Well, our next show is going to be the classic Great Gatsby, and that will be for an adult cast. And then in the summer, we do a big musical, and that will be Matilda, which is really popular right now because of the Netflix movie. Um, and then we are also doing The Haunting of Hill House in October. What else, Tom? I
We'll be
missed.
doing Christmas Carol, the musical, in December.
Fun.
And then uh, the 2 other youth theater shows are Footloose for our younger adults and high
Love
school
that.
students. That will be this summer in July. And Charlotte's Web will be in September, and that will be for the younger children.
Oh, that all of that sounds so much fun. Oh my goodness. So now do you guys actually participate in some of the productions as well as acting, or are you just kind of directing?
We have both been in several shows together. Actually, Tom has played my husband twice on stage. We were Mr. and Mrs. Banks and Mary Poppins a few years ago. And then we played Maria and Captain Von Trapp in The Sound of Music last December.
Very cool. So you guys do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
We do.
That is super duper exciting. All right. So I'm trying to think if there's anything, and we talked about how to get tickets. So just go to, just Google Chillicothe Civic Theater if you have to. Now, you mentioned that the theater is on Walnut Street, and I guess I'm not familiar with where that is. Could you kind of let us Jackson folks know?
That is in our historic downtown district, right off of Main Street.
Okay. And I think, so as to not confuse people, Main Street is not what you would think the Main Street is. Main Street's Bridge Street is kind of the one that goes to like all the stores and everything. So Main Street is the one that goes kind of into the downtown where you would get
Yes.
off there by Speedway and the McDonald's and Wendy's and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so everybody, doesn't get confused on that. So we'll
And the
very go ahead.
address for the theater will be on the tickets and on our website. And just plug that into the GPS. It'll take you right there.
There you go. That's easy enough. So how have all of the kids been involved? I assume that you have obviously cast members as kids, but are they doing crew stuff too? Like doing the sets and lighting and all that? I mean, is this like a full kid production?
We'll have a number
They
of
help.
kids upstairs in the tech booth.
Yeah, a couple of the kids that are not in this production but have been in past production are going to be in the tech booth, and we have a lot of parents and children that volunteer and help to paint the stage or sets or do costuming. So we're really lucky to have that kind of community that they all chip in.
That is really, really cool. And I just was thinking about, there's the acting part, obviously, but then there's all this behind the scenes stuff that kids can learn so much from doing the sets and the lighting and the sound and all of that. So it's really cool if they can get to experience everything.
Yeah, it really is.
All right. Well, is there anything else you wanted to tell our viewers while we have you here on the program?
I just have a little anecdote. Laura and I were able to catch the national tour of Peter Pan last week, and the young man who was playing Peter in this nationwide tour was also, when he was younger, in Peter Pan Jr., the same show that we're performing. So that's a pretty cool thing that reminds us that young people can go very far in life. And this is the place where they sometimes start that journey.
You're exactly right. We all have to start somewhere, and the sky's the limit for all of these kids. And you never know, you may be watching one of them on Broadway someday. That's pretty cool. Well, very good. So, okay, I have one other thing. Did somebody get to fly?
Well, Tom and we have a few ideas for how we're going to make the kids fly. We haven't quite figured out our method just yet. So I guess everybody will just have to come to the show and see what we choose.
Fair enough. I love that. Very, very good. All right. Well, thank you all so much for being guests on our program this morning. And we wish you all of the luck. Shall I say break a leg or something of that nature? I think that's what we're supposed to say. And again, Laura and Tom from the Chillicothe Civic Theater, we thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning. And it is very, very cold, so stay inside if you can. How's that?
Will do.
Thanks for having us.
Of course,
Thank
come
you.
back and see us anytime and keep us updated on all the productions that you all have going on. And we will be very, very happy to promote those for you. And thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we do have a message, and then we'll be back with maybe another guest.
Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at BellisioFoods.com/careers.
Right, and we are back. Our good friend Dylan is here because we are waiting on our other guest to be here, which is going to be really fun. And I'm laughing because what we're going to be talking about with our guest is certainly not conducive to this kind of weather.
No.
So it's going to be kind of a funny thing to talk about. So tell us a little bit about what's going on with this Southern Rock Woodstock that these passes were giving away.
Yeah, it's basically just a bunch of famous musical artists coming together in Gallipolis. Southern Rock Woodstock. It'll be a night of rock. I feel like it's one of those things. I think Porterhouse spent that. Oh, hey Chris.
Hi, Joe.
Well, I think our guest is here.
Well, I know, but keep talking.
Oh yeah. I think you can spend the night there. I don't take my word for that completely. I just remember Porterhouse spending the night at a rock thing once. But it's a bunch of musical guests, and they will just hang out and rock.
Well, that sounds like a good time. And all you have to do to sign up to win these passes is, again, comment your favorite rock star or rock song on our comments on this program. And then there will be kind of a vote.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite rock song?
I never really listened much to rock, but I want to say the Galileo. Remember that?
No.
Oh, come on, help me out here. I'm just a schoolboy. Nobody loves me. Galileo.
Oh.
Yeah.
That would be Queen.
That would be Queen, yes.
Yeah, there we go. I don't know the name of it too well. They wrote a movie about it, and it's titled the name of that song.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
There you go.
There you go.
That's the one.
I knew Jimmy would know all that.
Yeah. Well, it's not a name you hear too often. Who walks down the street and is like, hey, Bohemian Rhapsody? It's just not a name that comes out too often.
I mean, it kind of isn't. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever used the word Bohemian in a casual sentence?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Say it.
Bohemian?
Yeah.
Short for boho, which boho is used in all kind of daily words or language, like you dress boho, you decorate your home boho.
I don't think I've ever once said that.
Because you're not a girl. Jimmy, Jimmy seems like he's a rock fan.
Dazed and Confused, Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
There you go.
That's easy enough. I spend my life that way.
I feel like I know Led Zeppelin. I've never listened to it, but I've heard of Led
Stairway to Heaven, okay. Jesus God. Oh, sweetie.
I don't know. Not much of a rock person.
Well, anyway, all you have to do is comment your favorite song, and you can be the winner of these Southern Rock Woodstock VIP passes. And I will read off the back. If you win this pass, it does say tent camping.
Okay, yeah, I was right. I remember Porterhouse.
Tent camping for one person, Friday and Saturday, up close and personal with the band members, and you can park in the VIP parking.
Yeah.
And it gets you in, obviously, to the concert. So,
VIP parking.
heck yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Well, our guest is here, and he has on his cyclist shirt. And so we will bring him over. Or do we have another message to play?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We have another message to play, and then we'll be right back with our guest, Joe Finch.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
Who's going to be on the?
All right, we are back, and our good friend Joe Finch is here with his cyclist shirt on. And you know, you've been here numerous times here on the program, Joe, but you've always had on a different hat.
Yes.
We've never put on your cyclist hat, and you literally brought a helmet.
Well, being bald, I have to wear a lot of hats, and
Especially in this weather,
I'm
right?
always prepared. Oh my goodness, whoo! It's freezing out.
You know, they do say that a lot of your heat escapes through your head. So being bald, is that a disadvantage, I guess? Would it be?
I think a lot of things escape my head. Heat is one of them. Yes, definitely. Definitely so. Yeah, you have to really, it's like a big giant radiator at the wrong time.
Well, very good. Very good. So you have come on the program today because, and you and I have talked about this a little bit. You are an avid bicyclist.
I am.
Bicyclist.
Bicyclist.
Why is it we call it bicycle, but then if the word is that, it's cyclist?
It's
Why is
probably
it
one of
not
the things that's
cyclist?
escaped out my head. I don't know. Bicyclist. I never really thought of that. But
Leave it to me to come up with a stupid question.
Usually, I don't even. So the term cyclist covers both road and mountain and gravel. We'll talk about those today, the different little genres of cycling that are out now. And do you want to know when it all started?
I do. I want to hear all about cycling or cycling, however you would like to.
Well, like a lot of guys growing up in the early 60s, the bicycle was my escape, my mode of transportation.
It was your independence,
it
right?
was.
Like if you think about being a kid.
I learned to ride about 4, as I remember. Self-taught. Just taught myself on a little tiny bike.
No way.
Yeah. Took off around the neighborhoods of David Avenue and Oak Street and all that. And I would go for hours. And you visited people and you got back on the bike. And then when you were bored, you got on the bike. And
that's fair.
Just cruised the neighborhood. And then as I got older, it expanded out just a little bit. And finally got so about junior high age, I was riding from Redondo Drive all the way across town to Chancewell's Junkyard over by the DT&I car shops and bringing scrap metal home to make things. And that's kind of how it all got started.
So you actually, I mean, obviously you taught yourself to ride this bike. It gave you some independence, but you actually enjoyed getting on your bike.
Oh, absolutely.
Like as something that was kind of therapy to you.
It was just around and around the block and up alleys, a lot of alleys.
So here's the thing, and you know, Jackson way back when was known, you know, we had these brick streets and whatever, and they weren't in, shall we say, I remember High Street especially was not in the best shape as far as brick streets go, but on the bicycle, that was a blast.
Oh, yeah.
We used to go and the sidewalks that would be like crooked and you'd like ramp.
Those are ramps. Yeah.
So that was so much fun. When you were a kid and on your bike, you got to go over the bricks.
And I remember then when we moved out to Redondo Drive, there was a huge dirt vacant lot that had piles of dirt and everything. And that was where like local guys rode their motorcycles and stuff. I can remember being out there on like this, what you would call an English racer, riding that on those trails with that wasn't supposed to be, but that was my early mountain biking. That's how I kind of, remember doing that. Plus the 20-inch bike that everybody always had, the banana bike, which had a little bit bigger tires. So that let you ride off-road a little bit. And of course that poor bike, I sold the front end off and made a mini bike out of it, but that's a whole nother show. But that's how it all got started. Just the freedom of being on a bike. And of course, once you got a driver's license, that all kind of went away for a while.
I could see that.
Yeah.
So how did that affect your cycling or cycling?
Well, about the time I got a driver's license, I recall, I started getting very interested in fitness.
Okay.
And I started lifting weights, and that led to being on the cross country team and the track team my senior year in high school.
Gotcha.
And and I was very competitive, took it very seriously, trained in the winter and everything. But I soon developed something that my teammates called Finch splints. It's hard to say. You've heard of shin splints?
I have.
Okay. Well, I've
had
splints.
those.
Yes.
So Finch splints.
And I remember going to a doctor, and the doctor said, this was after I had already tried some more jogging through college and just didn't work. He said, you're going to have to find another form of aerobic exercise. And
Because your shins and things
he said,
it's not going to happen for you.
Perfectly flat feet. You've already, beat your shins to death. There's
Okay.
no recovering from that. You're never going to be able to jog. He said, find something else. So I thought, well, I had an old 10-speed bicycle that I'd acquired in high school, and got that out, dusted it off.
The 10-speed.
Yeah.
I remember the hands off.
Yeah.
Learn to ride.
Dusted it off and went for a couple rides just around town. On that.
Yeah.
And that, I thought, wow, you can really get exercise on these hills and so forth. And,
Sure.
Yeah. And so that led then to me finally deciding, as I recall, once I got hired as a teacher out of college, had a tiny bit of money there, buying a real racing bicycle. So I went to Chillicothe. Look, I had heard there was a bike shop up there somewhere. I found one. It was actually part of a key shop. They sold
bikes and keys.
They had one bicycle and a whole bunch of keys. And I bought the bicycle out of the window. And it was an obscure brand called a Volkscycle, which I don't know whether it was German or what. I don't know, but it was pretty good. And I think it was like $200, which was a lot back in 1979.
A few years ago.
Yeah. And brought that home and started doing some sort of serious riding on it, first around town. Then we had a neighbor who was really into fitness. His name was Chuck Fenwick, and he was really into fitness. And he said, why don't you join me? He goes, I ride to Bob Evans down to Rye Green every Saturday morning, which would be a 40-mile round trip. And so,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I got to doing that.
That would be intimidating to
I would
start.
go down to Bob Evans' restaurant. You rode without a shirt, tennis shorts or cutoffs, not even a hat. And I grabbed
Down the highway?
Down the highway.
That's not very safe.
Nope. And grabbed a shirt out of the bike bag and threw that on and go into Bob Evans. I had blueberry pancakes and a Coke every time, which is sickening, I know, but I don't know why back then. That's what I ate. And we would ride the 20 miles back. So I was kind of hooked, with road riding.
Sure.
Yeah. And that, kind of gave me my base of fitness there. And then I soon discovered that there was just a lot of other rides around here. We live in a great area for cycling, both road, gravel, and mountain. We're lucky.
Okay.
And sort of kind of plotted out, of course, no internet back then, just on maps, some routes around here. If I wanted to do 25 miles, want to do 10 miles, and still ride some of those today, some of those very ones. And then along came a new genre in mountain biking. And I have to thank my buddy Thad Haynes for this. He had got a mountain bike, and back up a little history on mountain bikes. I think I emailed a picture of an early mountain bike there. I think I emailed that today. There was a group of guys out in the San Francisco Bay Area, and they took these old bikes called clunkers. And there you go. And they went up on a mountain there called Mount Tamalpais, which is hard to say, so they just abbreviate it Mount Tam. And
Okay.
they took these old bikes like I would have run my paper route on. And if you'll notice, they've added motorcycle handlebars and they've added motorcycle brakes to them. And they would ride down this mountain.
So it was like hand brakes instead of like your
drum
foot
brake. You can see it going down on the front axle there. They put motorcycle hubs and motorcycle handlebars, and they would careen off this mountain down a
So they
trail.
were certifiably insane, is what you're saying.
They
Okay.
called the race the repack race. They still stage it, and the repack because you had to repack all the bearings on the bike.
Okay.
It ruined the bike
Gotcha.
in one trip down through there. And that was the guys. That's probably Gary Fisher there, who went on to start his own bike company. Tom Ritchie and Joe Breeze. Those were the founding fathers of mountain biking, and they all started their own companies. Tom Ritchie, you still have Ritchie Bike Products and Frames. They're still around.
Wow.
So this was in the 70s they did this, and that was the birthplace of mountain biking. Well,
interesting.
My buddy Thad Haynes he was a teacher in Chillicothe at the time. And there's a bike shop up there from our father of mountain biking in this area, Jubal Davis. And Jubal had a shop called just north of Daytona. And it was known as J-Nod. I'm not quite sure what it had to do with Daytona, but he had it in Chillicothe. And this was the first group of mountain bikers I'd ever seen. And they rode at eventually Great Seal, originally Souda Trail State Forest up there. They would meet and ride.
So was it hard to find? When was this?
This would have been in the about 96 or so, 97.
Okay, so we've gone forward quite a bit.
Uh-huh.
And was it hard to find the mountain bikes at that time?
They had simple ones, and I had one that just had maybe a front shock on it and not front and rear shocks like most of them have nowadays. And they had them, and he sold them there. And they would meet Tuesdays and Thursdays at Saturday Trail and Ride. And Thad told me, you got to get into this. And I'd already had a mountain bike, but I rode it just on gravel roads in the winter and so forth. I'd never really done trail. So we went down to Rio Grande, which is now Gatewood Trails. But at the time, it was just Bob Evans Farm horse trails.
Yep, been there on my horse.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Thad took me on my first ride there, and there's a lot of once you get up onto the trail system, which I'm sure I had to push my bike at the time to get up there. There's some undulating trails. There's little ravines you cross, which are nothing now. We hit those at high speed and don't even think. Well, I've been going along, poking along, and dodging everything, which you shouldn't do, and all that. And I thought this is really great. This is fun. And I came to that first ravine. And I fell down the ravine.
On your bike?
On my bike.
Oh, no.
And, Thad's like,
you all right down there?
Finally, I had to really see how far down I'd gone. And that was my first experience. And
did it totally freak you out?
It did. It was kind of funny. And I've got some other pictures there of me and some bike accidents that we usually stop and take a picture.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there I am.
That's not.
Yeah, that was so good that we decided rather than render first aid that Dad would stop and take a picture, and that's down.
Excellent.
That is on a single speed bike, which is another one of our passions, where you don't have any gears at all, so it's a workout and it's fun, and it kind of harkens back to your old banana bike days.
Sure.
And I almost made it up that hill. But you can see what happened there. It kind of tumbled back down over the side, and there was brush.
Oh, my.
And I think one of my legs there, I can't tell, is still clipped into the pedal because we have little snapping pedals. I think it's still, but that's an excellent photo. I got over that for the most part, that one. It was a little sore.
I would say so.
And you notice the helmet. Now, that is a mountain bike helmet. Here's a mountain bike helmet, okay? This is a special. These are not expensive, but you would not dare go out without this on.
Okay.
And, you snap it and you adjust it back here. But it has a little extra coverage in the back.
Okay.
And this visor, which is the face plant alert visor, which a half second before your face hits the ground, that will usually break off and help cushion the blood. Yeah,
good.
That's good. Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's for.
Right. And again, this is not an expensive helmet. Now, here's a road bike helmet.
I was going to say, are there differences?
There's differences, although you can get by with one and then the other, but I prefer one for each. This road bike's a little lighter, a little sleeker, does not have the visor because you're bent down more on a road bike and it's hard to look up.
Oh, yeah.
With that visor hanging down there. And it's just a little lighter overall, but these are both very sophisticated. They have what's called the MIPS system, which will actually let your heads spin in there if you're breakdancing on the ground accidentally.
Oh my.
That happens. My experience mostly though has been this helmet has really saved my noggin because I've hit tree limbs that I misjudged.
Sure.
And gone over embankments, and I could just hear the helmet hitting, and you would not go out. And another thing with the helmets are, especially for casual riders around here, you should always wear one because it signals to traffic that you're serious, that you're not somebody who lost their license and is running to the store real quick. That's their only transportation. But if you wear a helmet, they kind of leave you alone.
Okay.
And I have had nothing but good experiences with rides around here, and the local people wave. You just give them a wave, and very little trouble whatsoever.
Well, can we talk about etiquette?
Sure.
Because I'm sitting here thinking, number one, I live out on Standpipe, so I don't think it's probably the best idea in the world to jump onto Standpipe Road on a bike.
I have before, but you're right. It's not the best idea.
It's not the best road.
I have done a lot of things
My
that are
neighbor,
not the best idea.
Yeah, right. I've passed my neighbor a couple times. I'm like, dude, you have lost your ever-loving mind. You need to get off Standpipe Road. But anywho, but if you are in town and you jump on a bike, and then I want to talk about like if Jen goes out and just wants to buy a bike, we'll talk about that too. Like, what kind of bike do you buy? But what is like etiquette for riding a bike in town? Do you ride on the sidewalks? Do you ride in the street? Like, how do you know what to do? In
the eyes of the high law, you are same as a motor vehicle, so you should be on the street. You shouldn't be on the sidewalk.
Okay.
With very few exceptions. Now, I don't, if you're a little child or whatever, be on the sidewalk. I'm not saying little kids can go down the middle of the street.
Put your 4-year-old out on the street.
But if you're moving with the traffic, which through town, on a modern bicycle, you're up through town, you're going to be moving at the same speed as the cars, easily can move.
True.
And you stay to the right and let cars pass when it's, safe for both of you to do so.
Is that okay to pass a cyclist?
Yes. Usually,
I always wondered that.
As long as cyclists can get over safely.
Okay.
We are supposed to hold our ground until there's a way that we don't want to wreck and get off the road just so a car can go by.
Right,
but
sure.
Usually, our roads are very lightly traveled, our routes around here, and we know when to do them and so forth. To be honest, it's not people being rude, which again, that very rarely happens. It's dogs and
that makes sense.
Dogs that are not mean, but very overzealous and over happy to see you.
Okay.
And these are usually of the herding variety.
Yes.
The more herding blood they're in, the more they're going to chase you. They cannot help themselves. If they're loose.
That's what they're bred to do.
They see this guy in brightly colored clothes coming by on a bike. It's too much for them. It's just too much.
You are like the funnest thing ever.
Yes. And it doesn't happen often. So they're excited.
Yep.
And the danger there is not being bit, but they will get in front of you. And I've seen a couple nasty accidents happen when the dog just dives right in front of your front wheel. You can't get stopped.
Yeah.
I did have the heel of my shoe bit once. Just a nibble. Again, that
was just a nibble.
Yeah, that was a bonus. The bike is moving forward, but then you got these feet turning. So he went for the bonus and got the heel of my shoe. He was not mean about it. Again,
he was just having fun.
I don't think the dog knew he even did it. And but one time I remember there was a route that we had a big German Shepherd on, very intimidating German Shepherd, and he would come out. And of course, your instinct is to try to outrun him, which gives for a great workout. But they always live at the bottom of a hill, and you can't ride up that hill faster than that dog can run up that hill.
Sure.
So one day I just stopped. which always freaks the dog out.
They're like,
the game changes right then. Like, you're not supposed to do that. Don't stop. We're running here. And I just reached out my hand. He came up and I just petted him on the ears and the head and so forth. He never gave us any trouble after that.
So you just made friends with him.
It kind of freaked him out. Yeah. Like, we are actually living things.
Yes.
Coming by here.
Not just a toy.
Not just a toy. But again, in town, I think we live in a good area. Now, for casual biking around town here, we don't have bike lanes in Jackson.
Correct.
And Chillicothe does, Athens does. Not that a bike lane makes it safer, but you're still out on the road and a car can still be right there.
And you're right. And So I've talked about this a little bit with those scooters that people ride in like the big, Columbus,
Yes.
whatever. And you get in the bike lane, but I know there's one road in particular that I go down quite a bit in Columbus. It's 4th. And it's a one-way street. So your bike lane is on the left-hand side. So if you're in a car and you go to turn left,
Yep.
you're turning into the
To
bikes.
the bicyclists. So you got to
and the scooters and all that. And it always terrifies
both parties
me.
need to be very aware of that.
Yes.
It only works when both are watching. The bicyclists out on the road, I always usually have a mirror, which helps a little bit, just to be aware of what's going on behind you. Experienced cyclists can hear what's going on behind them, but with cold weather, you've usually got your ears covered with something, and it makes it a little harder. But I can just tell by motor noises behind me. Has the car seen me? Is the car slowing down? Are they getting over in the other lane to pass? You can hear all of that from experience.
Okay.
As long as you don't have your ears covered too much.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So, so if Jen wanted to get started cycling, and I go, I mean, could I go to Walmart and buy a bike, or what would you recommend, that Jen buys for a kind of a universal situation?
Walmart has upped their game. The bikes now are better than they were 10 years ago there.
Or do I have to go out and spend $1,000 on a bike? Like what?
It depends on how frequent you're going to use it and so forth. If you're just going to go once a month and ride through town, a Walmart bike will do you. That's fine. As long as you get fitted on it. That's the problem. They only come in one size, which is usually a medium. That bicycles are frame sized, not just wheel size, but they're frame sized. Like I ride a large. And they go from extra small to extra large.
Well, how would you know what to...
Well, that's just it. If you buy a Walmart one, you got to put the seat down, and it might be too much of a stretch to the handlebars. Or if you go to a bike shop, they will fit you for the proper bike,
And are there bike shops around here? There's in Chillicothe, isn't there? So...
if you, for instance, a good casual bike shop would be Rivers Bend with Jamie up there, and he sells a brand called Electra, which are not electric bikes necessarily, but that's the brand. Electra Townie, as I always tell people. They're about $500, last a lifetime, aluminum frame.
Okay.
And those will, do you. For mountain bikes, I go to Jubal, who's still around. He did a stint in Colorado for a while. I have all my bikes, my mountain bike serves at Jubal's, which is Cider Valley Cycle on Delano Road, out on a nice little farm setting.
Okay.
He has an old barn that he converted, and he can fix you up with a really high-end mountain bike, and also repairs.
So how, let's talk for a second. Pete's here to do news, so we'll get to him in just a second. But I mean, you mentioned $500, but I mean, is the sky the limit as to how much money you can spend on a bike?
I've seen bikes for $20,000. Yeah. Yes. Full on racing type, especially mountain bikes.
$20,000?
Yeah, an Olympic grade, what we call an Olympic grade mountain bike would be probably anywhere between 15 and 20.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Does it wash your dishes for you?
No, it gets you from point A to point B very quickly.
Pretty quickly.
Off-road on a dirt trail, yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 500 is what we tell people the starting point. Now, the problem with mountain bikes, a $500 mountain bike, is you're going to get your skills up and you're going to ride harder and harder, and that thing will start falling apart
I gotcha.
on you very quickly.
Because you're gonna get better,
and you're going to
be
get
testing
faster,
it more.
and you're going to want to ride more.
Yeah.
And so forth. So real quickly, it's still cheaper than Harley Davidson's.
That is true. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Yes.
So is there, say someone's watching the show today and they're like, hey, that Joe guy, that sounds like fun. Is there like a club around here that you can join?
I was thinking on the way here.
How do you get started?
Mostly Facebook groups. Like we have Gatewood Trails on Facebook, which is the Rio Dirt Trails. And those are looked over very good by, shout out to Matt Easter.
I was
Mayor
going to
Matt.
say, hi, Mayor Matt.
Yeah, Mayor Matt does a great job of organizing everything down there.
Bike advocate.
And that's, 9 times out of 10, I ride there when I can. I'm not a big snow rider. I think there's a picture of me one of the last times I rode in snow. If you can see that. There we go.
Why are you always on the ground?
That's me in the snow. Again, Thad was back there. He thought, why miss a great picture before rendering any kind of first aid? And I kind of, if you'll look there, can you zoom in on that a little bit? If you can zoom in, you'll see that I also realized what a great photo op. I hadn't had a good selfie, for a while. I don't really take those. And you can see I just put my hand there on my side of my head there and just posed.
You're just cheesing, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. But that was turned to ice real quick there.
Oh, yeah.
That's at Saudi Trail State Forest. And you can see the hills. It's just one giant hill there. And that's where we do gravel riding there.
Okay.
Gravel is, like I said, another genre. That's probably the latest.
Thing.
Latest is gravel riding. If you want to scroll through some of those pictures there, I put some other. There's a group ride we did. That would have been last summer. And back there in the back in the red shirt behind me, that's Pudge, the world famous Pudge.
Yep.
He was on that ride.
He's not on a horse. He's on a bike.
He's on a bike.
Well, good grief.
It's an e-bike.
Okay.
It's an e-bike. And we give him a lot of grief over that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
E-bikes are what's driving the industry right now. The electric assist on bikes, it gets you up the hill. It lets you ride with people who are fitter. So far, in my advanced age, I have not had to have one yet. I hope to never.
There is a big debate on whether it's cheating or not.
It is. Yeah. It doesn't bother me when people join in with us on e-bikes. It would bother me more if I was on an e-bike.
Sure.
And I'm in it for the fitness.
Yeah.
So I want it to be hard and I want it to be challenging. And if I have an hour to ride, I have an hour to ride. A lot of people say, well, you can ride twice as long with an e-bike. Well, I don't want to ride for 2 hours. Sometimes I just want to ride for an hour and get all I can out of that. But go ahead and scroll through some more there. There's a successful ride in the snow. That would have been down there at Gatewood. That's a place called the Hub, where you can park your bike and get off at a picnic table and so forth up in the woods. They've made a nice little place. Go ahead, keep going. And that's just me looking back. I think I heard what I thought was a bear.
Oh, God.
And there's one of my hardtail trail mounts, my winter bike right there. It's clean. It's not like that right now. That's what I ride in the winter. It's got a little fatter tires on it. There's Thad and I completed a really grueling 62-mile ride at Shawnee Forest a couple summers ago, and those are gravel bikes. See, the tires are a little wider than road bikes, but narrower than mountain bikes.
Yep.
And we got those little awards around our neck. Those are actually cookies.
Nice.
Edible,
Love that.
Edible awards.
Edible award.
Yes. Okay. There's my gravel bike. Again, a little bit fatter tires and a little more rugged. Mine mounts to really a mountain bike with drop handlebars on it, is what it really is, and no suspension. But it's very lightweight. And it's a great bike. It gets the job done. Okay, there's one of my main mountain bikes at the little place we call the Hub. There's even a sign. And that is a Yeti, not related to the Yeti coolers, but it's Yeti brand mountain bikes. And that's a full suspension. Notice it's got shocks on the front and rear.
Okay.
And that's a carbon fiber bike. That's a fairly nice bike. It's done me well for several seasons, and it's very versatile. And you can lock the suspension out if you come to a long road climb or something you have to do. But I usually just leave the suspension on. It's real cushy.
Okay. Cool.
There we are. There's the three amigos. That's Tony Thorne in the background. Shout out to Tony. And we always say something really stupid, right, when the picture's taken. I mean, something just really dumb. You can't help but you notice I'm laughing there. So we usually, whatever we've talked about on the ride, there's some stupid version of it that somebody yells out.
Makes sense.
Yes. Now there I am again posing for a senior. I call those senior photos. That's a place beside a trail that the canopy overhangs the road.
Yeah, it's
and
beautiful.
It's up on a giant ridge, and it is really pretty. Again, that's gravel riding there.
Okay.
That's gravel. A lot of dogs on the trail. Love to see dogs on the trail. I just happen to see this picture. There's some random dog Some people actually let them run loose and they ride right with them.
Oh.
Yeah, they go over the jumps and everything. The
That's
dogs
awesome.
do. Yeah. Okay. Okay, now there's the one time that I got Crystal on a bike.
I was going to say.
And we are in Miami Beach. And we signed up for this wonderful Miami Beach bicycle tour. The guy had a little microphone on his bike and a little speaker, and he pointed out all the spots we were in the South Beach area. And Crystal loved it. And that's her with the helmet on a bike. And if you notice that, I think she's yelling, "Get out of my way" to me right then.
Probably.
Yeah. It's about to run me over.
Yep.
Yep. We're going to go back and do that again, too, sometime.
Well, that will be fun.
That was fun. Yeah.
That will be fun. All right. Well, very good. Well, Joe, I would love for you to come back. I think that we have so much more that we could talk about with biking and how to get started and you know, all that. Maybe you could bring a bike and we can ride around.
Ride around the building.
You can you can show me how to ride a bike.
I really hate it to probably ride today. Cold is not the factor, but wind and slick spots are.
It's not safe out there.
Got one in yesterday.
Good.
Got a road ride in yesterday, and it wasn't too bad. And a short one, under an hour to keep you going through the winter. I hate indoor bicycle riding, but sometimes I have to.
That's something else we can talk about as well.
Yeah.
That Peloton.
Yes, yes.
Well, very good. Well, Joe, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Pete Wilson is here to do some news, so we will get them transferred. And we do thank you for spending your morning with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Do we have another message? Okay, then we'll be right back with Pete.
Saturday, August 16th is Southern Rock Woodstock in the Gallipolis Fairgrounds. This event will feature 3 decades of original artists and legends. Leonard Skinner, 38 Special, and Molly Hatchet. In light of this event, Total Media will be giving away 4 VIP tickets. For a chance to win these exclusive passes, comment your favorite Southern rock song, and our staff will vote on which one is the best. Good luck, and may the best man rock out.
Pete Wilson to talk about news. Welcome.
Okay, well, here's the news flash. Just in the last hour, instead of 5 degrees, it's now 6. And at 10 o'clock, it's supposed to be 7. So don't say that I have nothing but bad news.
Well, I tell you what, and I talked about this earlier, but I do want to say it again, and everyone's looking at me like I'm crazy. I let the girls out, my dogs out this morning, and both of them immediately sat down and they were holding their paws up and I couldn't hardly get Marley back in. She had walked out and then her paws froze and she just laid down because she was like, she didn't understand. Mm-hmm. So be very, very careful with your animals. Please don't take them out on long walks today, that kind of thing, or unless you have little booties for them. And I know that sounds really dumb, but it is a thing.
Yeah. And if you have, the outdoor dogs and that's where they stay.
Absolutely.
Shelter and straw.
Yes. Please.
And
water.
Make sure they have plenty of water too. Okay. Well, speaking of the weather, since that's kind of top of the mind right now.
It is.
There are 2 warming centers, one
goodness.
in Jackson County, one in Vinton County that I know. There may be others, but what we know over at Wellston, the Life Source Apostolic Church on Driving Park Road, the big church as you're heading into the road to go to the fairgrounds is a good way to describe it. It is doing a nighttime warming center, an overnight warming center through next Saturday morning. The times that it's open is 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. So that is a place that you can go, if you need shelter, during the overnight hours when it's most critical. All right. Also, the folks in Vinton County, led by the United Way of Vinton County, has set up a warming center. Talked to those folks yesterday evening. It opened at 5 p.m. last evening at the MacArthur Fireman's Bingo Hall, 303 West High Street in MacArthur. It will operate till at least 9 a.m. Thursday. And the reason they picked that time was that's when it's supposed to break and not be quite so cold. They will make a decision then whether to continue. Now, those folks at the United Way, they are counting on people to come forward volunteer to help man and operate that shelter.
Sure.
And also to also donations for such items as non-perishable food items, snacks, blankets and pillows, also games, cards, and puzzles, you know, through entertainment or whatever they have.
Sure.
I know that they had at least one person right off the bat. In Vinton County, the young lady I talked to was very concerned that the rural nature of the county, some of the housing or whatever may be inadequate. And so this is a place, this warming center will be open all day. It's just not an overnighter. So that's in MacArthur, and they were able to get the support of the MacArthur Fire Department to be able to use that facility. It's one of the larger public areas in Vinton County, and it will be open once again through 9 a.m. Thursday. And the big deal on this is if something should happen with electric power, which can happen in cold weather.
Very much so.
And, you know, we have icing because of the cold temperatures. We had, you know, an inch or so of snow yesterday. So if the power lines go down, that's when the need will skyrocket, just like that, because you can't afford to not have shelter. A lot of people may have a place to go, other family members, some people may not. So it's very important that the public know about these two warming shelters, one in Jackson County, one in Vinton County, and we do have that posted on our website. All right, well, a lot of things going on today, and we're going to mention them real quick. Of course, we have the inauguration of a new president,
I know,
Donald Trump,
snuck up on me,
who is the 47th president of the United States, as well as the 45th, and Jackson County is represented over in Washington, D.C. Let's go over some of those folks there. Not all those folks are from Jackson County, but many of them are. I'm sure there are others that are there as well, maybe also from Vinton County. It's kind of like a historical thing. It's a party thing, too, for the victorious party. And these folks were pictured at one of the early events on Saturday. Of course, the inauguration going on today, forced indoors because it's about as cold in their capital as it is here.
Definitely not safe to be outside.
But some of the folks you see in that picture from the left in the front row, that is Bob Peterson. He was our state senator for many years. He is now a state representative over there in the Fayette County area. That is his wife, Lisa, next to him. Then as you go to the right from the Petersons, you have Debbie Cantor from Oak Hill area. She is the Republican Party secretary. You've got Dr. Cindy Kidd, local veterinarian from the Jackson area. You have Leslie Leach, who is from Jackson County. I think she lives out in Bloomfield Township. You have Bren Stepp, who is Leslie's sister, by the way. Bren is the chair of the Jackson County Republican Party Central Committee. And that is Mitch McVeigh, who is Dr. Kidd's son. And then in the back row, you've got Bonnie Ward, who is the Central Committee woman for the 17th District. That represents a bunch of counties where you're on the State Republican Party's committee, and this is a district position. You have Julie Brazel Stevens. She is the wife of Jason Stevens, former Speaker of the House and still our state representative. She, by the way, has snatched a job as the regional representative, district director for new United States Senator Bernie Moreno.
Okay.
And then to her right, you have Larry Kidd. Behind his wife, Cindy Kidd. Larry, of course, prominent local businessman, has the Office Commons, his jobs company, his jobs employment company, and of course, he was a congressional candidate in the 2024 election.
Very cool.
So all those folks are over there for the inauguration today. I hope that I know they got to some indoor things. Limited people, of course, will be at the Capitol Rotunda where they're going to do the ceremony. And then, of course, they're going to have they had another event at the Capitol Arena yesterday. But once again, many people in town for the inauguration, they all don't fit into that arena. So I'm not sure how that worked. But still,
pretty cool.
Still, I'm sure everybody felt it was a special thing. Okay, we need to announce this is a thing that is statewide, but it's important for us too because we're in the state, aren't we?
Oh, I think so. My shirt says.
Right. We have a new United States Senator. It is John Husted. John Husted had been or has been the lieutenant governor. There he is up there. John is well known in the state. He's been the number 2 man for Ohio Governor Mike DeWine for some time. And before that, he was in the state legislature. He also was the Ohio Secretary of State. And Governor DeWine picked him to serve the unexpired term, or at least until the next election, for the position vacated by J.D. Vance. Of course, he's got another job that we know about, vice president. So the governor got to make the appointment. I believe in 2028, Mr. Husted will have to run for the remainder of that 6-year term that Mr. Vance was elected to.
If he chooses to.
Yeah, in 2022. Now, there was a lot of speculation, I think more than speculation, that Mr. Husted was going to run for governor.
That's what you would assume.
Right. Governor DeWine can't run again because of term limits. And John Husted, is known statewide, and he's had his eye on the governor's seat. Well, this opportunity came along, and he sought this appointment, and the governor gave him this appointment. So that opens up the gubernatorial race in 2026. And one of the candidates is kind of a national figure, Vivek Ramaswamy, who has become had a national profile. He ran for president, and of course has been very foremost in the Trump campaign since. I didn't know this until recently, but he lives in Columbus.
Yeah, I did not know that either.
Right. So I mean,
until I saw the announcement.
There's probably going to be many others, and it's kind of out there that he's going to be announcing by the end of the month. So we'll see what happens there.
Who will take Husted's seat or job?
That is something that Governor DeWine and the legislature will work on, but there will be a new lieutenant governor too. I'm not sure how soon that will happen, but yes, they'll have to name a new lieutenant governor. That has not happened yet. Okay, also today, if you didn't know, we're going to remind you, it is Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
It is.
It's been a holiday for some time, the 3rd Monday in January. So therefore, if some of you folks set your garbage out, you forgot about the holiday, that's why they didn't take it. Most governmental offices are closed. I think most of the schools, if not all the schools, are closed as well. There will be an event today to celebrate Martin Luther King Day. It's kind of a regional event involving several counties. It's going to be at the Paint Creek Baptist Church, which is on 3rd Avenue in Gallipolis. It is the Southeastern Ohio NAACP Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. There'll be some local folks there as well. The speaker will be Elaine Armstrong, who is a former retired administrator from the University of Virginia. There is Elaine. If you may remember, she was the commencement speaker at the last Rio Grande graduation. So that is today. By the way, that is at 1 p.m. at the Paint Creek Baptist Church. I did some checking. As far as I know, it's still on.
Very good.
Okay. Also this evening, there's going to be a zoning board meeting in Jackson. We talked about this before.
Oh, my.
But it involves the proposed Starbucks coffee shop that's going to go out there by McCarty, not in McCarty Crossing, but just west of McCarty Crossing on the other side of that access road that leads into McCarty Crossing. And the conditional use that they are seeking from the zoning board, which they had a meeting just a week ago on that, is for a drive-through. No problem on that. But here's the issue that wasn't resolved. They ran out of time, and so they punted, and they're coming back tonight, was the facing of the building. Because of the lot and how it's configured, and with the drive-through, the developer for Starbucks wants to have the building facing the front, facing away from Main Street. A couple of zoning board members and Mayor Randy Evans, he's not on the zoning board, feel that it ought to face Main Street. All the other buildings, business buildings do. Why can't this? So that'll be at 6 o'clock. And I am hoping that they will resolve that by 7:30, because at 7:30, the Ohio State Buckeyes are playing for a national championship, and I don't want to miss it.
Exactly. Pete's going to be like, hey, guys.
I know that there's some Ohio State fans on that zoning board.
So the whole world will be at home watching the game.
They did set that meeting at 6 o'clock, so we're glad for that. But, I know that there's going to be lots of places. I know that will be open for that. I know you always have big parties there at 6 cents.
Yeah.
But
fun buckets.
But there is a chance to see it on the big screen at Danbury Cinemas.
In Chillicothe.
That's in Chillicothe, but of course, that's in our Stockmeister family of this is pretty special. I can never remember, a sports broadcast in a local or area theater on the big screen. I mean, maybe there has been, but this is the first one I can remember.
It would be kind of cool to see it that big.
Right, and you can go online and get tickets in advance, but I know that you'll be able to get them at the door as well, and there'll be deals for snacks and all like that. So that's another opportunity. And of course, you have your living room or your bedroom if you want to go that route too.
Yep.
And that's free.
You got it.
All right.
All right. Well, very good. Well, thank you, Pete, for hanging out with me this morning. We appreciate you so much. And we did want to give a shout out to Nia Henry for sponsoring the news. Give her a call at 418-4135, and she will be working hard for you as a realtor if you are looking to buy or sell. How's that? Okay. And go Bucks. National championship tonight against Notre Dame. Check on all your friends, your neighbors, your pets. Make sure that everyone is warm and cozy as they can be, because the temperatures are very, very dangerous out there.
And also, no matter where you live, maybe particularly more, if you're out in the country, have a contingency plan on what you would do if you do lose your power.
Agreed.
Whether it's something that you can do in your home or in your business, or a plan B to go somewhere.
Agreed.
Kind of have that in mind, because it's one thing if you lose your heat in the winter. It's another thing if you lose your heat in the winter when the temperatures are in the single digits.
You got it. Absolutely. It's dangerously cold out there. So have a great day, everyone. And we will be back here tomorrow. Stay warm and go Bucks. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.